Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 351 for July 2nd, 2024. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, the NFL must pay over $4 billion after losing a class action lawsuit. Northwestern University breaks ground on a new football stadium, and Canada wins the U20 American Football Junior World Championship. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
I hope everybody is recovered and no longer hungover from their awesome Canada Day that they had yesterday. I hope that everybody's fingers are intact and that, our friends up north of the border are all okay.
How did you celebrate Canada Day yesterday?
I put out 2 YouTube videos for the YouTube channel. That's how I celebrated.
Yes, you did. I couldn't believe you recorded 2 and posted 2 of them yesterday.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that here.
Dedication, Randy. Maybe you'd learn a thing or two.
Okay. Yeah. Please. Well,
the silence is deafening.
I got the correction written down there, but I was going to hold the correction for later. But I think I'll just do the correction right now since I already got it written down. Last week during the birthdays, I mispronounced the name of the guy with the birthday last week. His name was Paul Tank Younger. And when I was going back and listening to the podcast, it came out as Paul Young Tanker.
Oh, you go back and listen to the podcast?
Well, I just happened to be listening to it because we had the video last week, our 350th episode, and it was right after the part where we had Aaron and Kyle on with us. So I just kept listening a little bit, and the very first thing I said was the obituary, and I mispronounced Paul Tank Younger. Even though I had it written correctly, I looked at it and I just mispronounced it.
Hey, sometimes that happens. I can't besmirch you. I was going to say, hey, why don't you learn to write better? But
hey, things happen.
It does happen. It happens.
All right, let's move on. We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. We also have timestamps down in the descriptions of both the podcast and many of our YouTube videos, so you can go right to the topics you really want to listen to. You can also find our podcast in its full audio form on our YouTube channel. Just search for The World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @The World of Football in the YouTube search bar. You'll also find other selected videos on our YouTube channel, such as Aaron and Kyle,
so we did the reflecting on 350 episodes,
Right.
which it was a smaller segment from our already small segment with
Right.
Aaron and Kyle from
like
last week.
the 9-minute piece where they were involved in it.
Yeah, I did like the first 7 minutes, and then there was a bit where I was like, I have to get the part where Kyle talked about going and getting a Rolls Royce, so I added that part at the end. We did that one. We did a video about me receiving a Grand Rapids Rampage jersey from Royal Retros. I did a quick little review of that because we recorded the 350th episode via the internet last week, so I didn't see you in person, but
Right.
I had got something delivered to your house, so you brought over that jersey, and you helped me do a video on that.
Yep.
We also got up our trip to Toronto, which was a lot of fun to do, and it was a fun trip, so if you haven't had a chance to check that out. We also had our Arena Football League Week 9 recap. We had our CFL Week 4 recap on Canada Day yesterday, and our Just Lying Around episode where Kyle and I kind of played the schedule game with the Lions. So very busy since the last episode of the podcast.
Yeah, that's an awful lot of new content.
Yeah.
And thanks to that.
And thanks to that, we are currently sitting at 989 subscribers. So thank you again, everybody. We're 11 away from hitting our goal. And any day now, I'll get that text from Dad saying, we did it. We hit 1,000.
Yep.
Oh, now we're down one because somebody unsubscribed.
We got it. We lost it. It's back again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's begin our tour around the world of football. And we start this week north of the border in the Canadian Football League.
That's right. If you didn't listen to our Canadian football recap show, go over there. We'll be a little more in depth in that discussion. I mean, it was a half-hour show we ended up doing talking
Yeah.
CFL, but it's been so good. This past weekend was amazing. We talked about that.
Exceptionally good games.
Exceptionally good. 3 of the 4 games ended with last-second field goals.
Yep.
One game was within 10 points. So many close games over the weekend, starting with Thursday night where the British Columbia Lions defeated the Edmonton Elks 24-21. That makes 3 straight 3-point losses for Edmonton. We were there in Toronto in week 3 when they lost on a last-second field goal. They lose in BC against the Lions on a last-second field goal. And I'm going to get some of these games mixed up probably, but didn't they leave 28 seconds, or was that a different game where they left 28 seconds and the other team marched down to kick the field goal?
That was the last game.
That was the last
Hamilton
game.
Red
Okay.
Blacks game.
See, it's all jumbled up in
Right.
my brain.
Yeah, they were all very close.
Yep. So that was that game. Then on Friday night, the Montreal Alouettes, the defending Grey Cup champions, beat the previous Grey Cup champions from 2022, the Toronto Argonauts, 30-20. Quarterback Ricky Ray was inducted into the Argos Wall of Honor. I believe that now makes him in the Wall of Honor for both the Edmonton and
Oh, I don't know about that.
or Saskatchewan. I forget where he's in.
You could be wrong. I could be wrong. You could be right. Yes.
I think he is in. I thought because I was looking up trying to find a video when editing, and I'm pretty sure he's also in one other Canadian team's Wall of Honor. If anybody wants to correct me, go ahead and do that in the comments. I'm okay with that. But yeah, Toronto, they gave him a little bit of a fight, but man, the Alouettes, they're the best team in the CFL right now. At the beginning of the season, they just look pretty unbeatable.
Yeah,
little flawed, but
both of these teams were undefeated
Yeah.
going into this game. Montreal was 3-0 and Toronto was 2-0. So, yeah, that's the first loss of the season for Toronto.
Yep. All right, and then Saturday, the Calgary Stampeders defeated the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 22-19 in overtime. Winnipeg lost starting quarterback Zach Claros for a little bit. We still haven't heard what his injury situation is. It seems like his not playing after he got hurt was precautionary, so we'll see. But the Blue Bombers gave it a fight. They just came up short again, making the Blue Bombers 0-4 on the season.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The kind of the stretch of games the Blue Bombers have had to start this season.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do going forward. And then the Ottawa Red Blacks got their first win over the Hamilton Tiger Cats since 2018. They gave them a 24-22 win for the Red Blacks. That was another one where I couldn't believe how long it had been since they had beaten Hamilton.
Yeah, but this was the one where Hamilton went down and scored with 28 seconds to go, and they left just enough time for Ottawa to work their way down the field and kick. I think it was a 52-yard field goal.
I forget, the length, but it was a good one.
Yep,
I mean, they booted it through, and
as time expired, 3 games, walk-off field goal as time expired.
you gotta love it. I mean, if you're not watching the CFL, what's wrong with you? But it's such a good time. I thoroughly enjoy myself watching the CFL, and lately this whole season, since we've kind of been extra locked in doing the weekly show, these games have been good.
Yeah, I've always liked the CFL. It's my first game in '94. I've been following it ever since. Been to a number of games. I've seen all the teams play up there. Between the Edmonton Eskimos and the Edmonton Elks as of this year. But it's just a lot of fun, and I like all the teams up there. That's why I'm in the process of getting a T-shirt of every Canadian CFL team. I wouldn't do that in the NFL. It's only Lions. All the 31 other teams can kiss my butt because they're not the Lions. But up in Canada, I'll get a red black shirt. I've got a Calgary shirt now. I've got a Toronto shirt coming. I've got a Toronto hat that I bought the other day at the game, and a nice scarf for this winter. So yeah, I like all the teams. I want to represent all the teams up there.
Yeah. All right, and then on bye this past week, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are 3-0, but it was announced during the weekend that quarterback Trevor Harris is going to be put on the 6-game injured reserve.
Yes.
He got hurt in last week's game for the Rough Riders. Backup quarterback Shea Patterson is going to be filling in for a while. So we'll see if that affects the Rough Riders' winning streak.
Yeah.
They play Toronto this Thursday night, so that should be an interesting one.
Yep.
All right. Anything else from the CFL before we move on?
No, they can go see our video on the rest of that information.
Right. Sounds good to me. All right, well, we're going to move on to the Arena Football League, where it was, surprise, surprise, the end of the regular season. There's a lot of caveats to that. So much happened since last week's show, and we actually do have a little bit of breaking Arena Football news that
Oh,
just kind
really?
of came through,
Okay.
which we'll tackle in a second. So there was only one game this past weekend in the Arena Football League because they have restructured their playoff format. They have, I don't think they've officially announced it, but I have seen screen grabs that CBS Sportsnet has confirmed that they are going to be having the Arena Football League playoffs on their broadcast network, which means they wanted an extra game for week 1, so the playoff system went from 5 teams to 6 teams. So the league figured, okay, if we're going to do that, let's give all the playoff teams a bye week last week, and then we'll have the 2 teams that happen to be playing each other anyway. The 2 worst teams will round out the regular season. They'll play a meaningless game on Saturday, which saw the Wichita Regulators get their second win of the season, defeating the Washington Wolfpack 48-21. How do you feel about this change?
I actually watched most of this game.
I
Not
tried
most
getting
of
into
but
it. That I watched
a good share of it. Yeah, I watched it for a
It
while.
was tough to watch.
Yeah, it was a little hard to watch. I kept going back to it, thinking, "Oh, maybe this will get better," and it just it didn't. But
Yeah.
it was interesting. You know, having 6 teams in the playoffs now makes more sense than 5. So I'm fine with it. I was a little surprised that they gave a bye week to 6 playoff teams and just let the 2 other teams play and get all the exposure for that 1 week. But
Yeah, but I also saw something, and this isn't the breaking news, but I did see something earlier today, and I had to take a screen grab of it, that the Regulators, that was their last game of the year, right? Well, apparently they are going to be playing a game next Saturday. It'll be like a exhibition game against that One Up Athletics that we've seen popping up playing. I think they did some exhibition games with the AL, or the Arena League, not to be as confused with the Arena Football League, but yeah, like they put up I saw somebody share a post on Facebook that the Regulators going to be doing that, so they're going to try to host another home game just to recoup some money. It sounds like, which I can't blame them after the whole debacle that happened this
Yeah,
past season with the
yeah.
previous regime. But we won't get into it. So yes, as we mentioned, 6 teams on bye. That's the Nashville Cats, who this is 3 straight bye weeks for the Cats. I feel bad for that team.
Yeah.
Then the Salina Liberty, Billings Outlaws, Albany Firebirds, Orlando Predators, and Southwest Kansas Storm all have their byes. All right, so here is your final league standings for the Arena Football League this year.
Now, if you're looking at the standings, I put the number of games that each team
Yep,
played.
I see that.
Okay, I didn't know if
Do you want me to bring
understood.
that up?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you got 3 teams that had 9 games, 3 teams that played 8 games, and 2 teams that played 7 games this season.
Yep.
So a little disparity there.
Yep. So the Billings Outlaws will go in as your number 1 seed at 7-1. They played 8 games this year, obviously. If you can't do that quick math, the number 2 seed will be the Albany Firebirds at 7-2, playing 9 games. The number 3 seed, the Salina Liberty at 6-2, who played 8 games. At number 4, the Orlando Predators at 5-2, who played 7 games this year. At number 5, the Southwest Kansas Storm at 4-5 with 9 games played. And at number 6, the Nashville Cats at 3-4 with 7 games played. Eliminated from the playoffs, the Wichita Regulators at 2-6, playing 8 games, and eliminated the Washington Wolfpack at 2-7, playing 9 games. So that puts your playoff matchups real quick. We'll come back to the other news in a second, but your playoff matchups will be this Friday, July 5th. The Nashville Cats will go to Orlando to take on the Predators. You got to see Nashville play in person.
Yep.
I'm curious to see how this Nashville team, off 3 weeks of rest, is going to play.
Yeah, well, Orlando's had a couple of bye weeks themselves.
They did, and then they played Albany.
But
and
they're
then,
at home, and I don't know.
We'll see. I'm thinking this should be a game Orlando will probably win, but I'm kind of pulling for the Cats to pull an upset.
Sure.
And then your second game, which will be Saturday, July 6th, will be the Southwest Kansas Storm at the Salina Liberty. This is a coin toss for me. I've seen both these teams look good, and I've seen them both look bad. So it's any guess. And then your number 1 seed Outlaws will get an additional bye, and your number 2 seed Albany Firebirds will also have a bye. They'll obviously both play the winners of the first round games. And then we have some news from this past week. Dr. Jen Welter joins the AFL as the Chief Marketing Officer. She has a PhD in sports psychology and marketing degree from Boston College. She's the first woman to be an assistant coach in the NFL and is the first woman to play on an indoor football team. Like, when you get digging into her resume, it was very, very extensive.
Yeah.
And to see how involved she's been with football on different levels was quite impressive.
This is another solid hiring in the front office of the Arena Football League. They've been doing great things since Lee Hutton has been shown the door. And since then, they've been bringing in quality people who know what they're doing. to lead this league into the years to come. So I'm excited for her, and I'm excited for the league.
Yep, it's a good first step. You know, it starts from the top. We've seen it as Lions fans how important having a front office, you know, a
Right.
strong front office with a
Right.
vision and you know cohesion, leading the way. And obviously that wasn't there. Lee Hutton and Terrell Gaines and whoever else was involved at that time. It just there might have been the vision, but I don't think there was the conviction or the
Execution.
actual. Yeah, there was no execution. It lacked all that. So here I think since you know, was it G6 Sports?
Yes.
Got back the reins, installed a new commissioner in Jeff Fisher, and then we've added the likes of Jerry Kurz. We've added the likes of Gary Compton, and then so many other positions being filled out for people who are just very well experienced people that, you know, they have a certain job and they're going to do it well, hopefully. And that hopefully means that all of them coming together can push this league forward into the direction we hoped it was going to from the beginning. So some good stuff there in the AFL front office. But again, let's wait to see the fruits of their labor in the future and how they tackle going into next season. They're still trying to get through this season. Right. And boy, we'll talk about some of this stuff here in a second because I was scratching my head when they finally announced Arena Bowl 33. They gave us a logo. It's a logo. I was just happy to get one, to be honest with you. But then they announced it was going to be played in New Jersey, and I was like, that's an interesting location, New Jersey. But, you know, they had a couple teams out there before. It's not like, the Red Dogs played out there. They've had the Atlantic City Blackjacks out in New Jersey. So I was like, okay, I mean, and they talked about playing some exhibition game, or no, they were going to play some games with the Soul out there before the Soul ended up folding. So I was like, okay, the interesting area. Maybe they've got some agreement with a arena, or maybe they got some relationship out there we didn't know about. But then they said it was going to be played at the American Dream Center. And I was like, ooh, what's this fancy sounding venue I've never heard of? And then you click the image and it's a mall. It's in a mall. I was like, what in the world are we doing?
It's the second largest mall in America behind the Mall of America,
which we were just
in Minneapolis, which we were at a few weeks ago.
Which is funny.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a second. Well, I'm sure it just kind of goes without saying that there was a second biggest mall somewhere.
Right, yeah,
but
I didn't know about that. I knew that there was one in Edmonton that's like the biggest one in the world, or biggest one in this hemisphere, bigger than the Mall of America.
Bigger than the Mall of America,
yes,
you say?
But I didn't know about this American Dream Center. But now I know a whole lot more about it than I
did. I watched some YouTube videos on this place. This place has just as weird a riddled backstory as this brand new Arena Football League has had, with the false starts and some of the fraudy things that have happened along the way for this thing. But seeing some of the videos of where this venue is inside the mall,
right,
on the surface, I see it. I'm like, I guess you could put some seating in there. I don't know how ideal it's going to be. I saw some of the ticket prices. The ticket prices aren't outrageous for going to the game, which you might talk about going to. You said you were going to go to the game, probably.
I'm very seriously considering going.
I can't make it, but
I may go just all by myself. But
so we'll
it's
see.
like a 10-hour drive, 8 to 10-hour drive from here.
But you got your hand up like a kid in school. What do you want to say?
Well, no, I was just going to say that I looked at the ticket prices, and they're going to bring in some seating, some bleacher seating. So I think this ice rink is so big that there'll be room on the sidelines for bleacher seating that I think that they're going to bring in.
Then they also have seating they can put probably around. There's like 2 or 3 tiers, right?
Right, but those are standing room only, from what I saw.
So they said that. I thought that's where they could bring in the seating. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But look, I get it. It got a lot of flack when this came out. Like everybody's like, "Oh, it's in a mall." Blah blah blah, cry. And look, I get it. It's not the ideal for me. It's interesting though. I thought this would have been an interesting, like, maybe not for your championship game, but for like a exhibition game, or even for like a media. Hey, this is just for the media to come in and see how arena football works, or something like that. It'd be a great venue. But then I was seeing some of the videos, and how isolated the area where this rink is makes a little sense for the Arena League. Like, hey, they could rope it off, so it's not like I thought, which was some Joe Schmo could go from Annie's Pretzels and walk right over and be like, "Oh, hey, there's a football game playing down there." No, like they'll like rope off that section, and like they'll probably have events, and they've talked about having former players and NFL players and other personalities there. So it sounds like it could work. I mean, with you being our man on the ground there, I mean, videotaping everything, I would hope. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, it'd be very interesting to get a first person perspective on this. So yeah, you better get your ticket.
I'm this close to getting a
You better
ticket
hurry up before it gets
and
sold out.
getting a hotel. And this mall is right next to
MetLife Stadium.
MetLife Stadium where the Giants and the Jets play. So if I could fit in a tour of that stadium, that would be awesome
Oh
if I
man, you
could do
could just
that.
turn it into a weekend. Randy's bachelor weekend.
Well, they got something going on at the Arena Bowl on Thursday. The game's on Friday,
Friday
so
night,
they
yeah.
have always have something the day before. So I would probably leave on Wednesday, drive over there, and be there for Thursday and Friday, and then come home on Saturday. So it's totally doable.
Yeah.
And a lot of I watched some videos too about the mall, and a lot of them are from like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
So
I've only caught one that was a couple months ago.
right, where
And
a lot of empty spaces and whatnot.
yeah,
But I mean, if it's 5 years ago, no telling what it's like now. Hopefully, it's in a much better place.
it seems like they've updated a lot. Like they kind of got some of the same vibe as the Mall of America.
Hmm.
So we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see how they roll out the red carpet for the Arena Football League.
Right.
But unfortunately, I'll have to hold my breath and make like until it actually happens because I just have a bad feeling something else is going to happen, and this game may or may not get played there. They're going to have to. I don't know. We'll see.
No, it's going to happen.
We'll see.
It's going to happen,
We shall see.
and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there for it.
All right. Well, I hope so. All right. We have one more story, then I'll talk about the breaking news that kind of just came through from the Arena League. The AFL is no longer associated with Humble. If you remember, the league started off with a partnership with this digital platform where fans could purchase game tickets and merch. I mean, shoot, my Minnesota Myth shirt's got the Humble
Hmm.
information in there with the QR code and all that. So, but they say only the Oregon Black Bears will still have a working agreement with the company should they come back next year with the Arena Football League or another league. So the AFL cutting ties with it, which makes sense. If they want to be associated with one team, okay. But yeah, I don't see where the Arena Football League had any sort of benefit from having this partnership that Lee Hutton struck up. So.
Yep.
But all right, so the breaking news from the Arena Football League, you might roll your eyes at, but they did put out a thing about 30 minutes ago, maybe a little less than that. This is thanks to Arena Fan retweeting this. So about an hour ago, the Arena Football League has kind of announced some new social media accounts. So on YouTube, they will be at the Arena Football League. On Instagram, they are at AFL_USA. Facebook, they will be the AFL. And on TikTok, if thou shalt choose that platform,
No,
is at
not for me.
official AFL. So it's essentially just a story about them kind of streamlining their social media game,
Okay.
which in this day and age, and we've talked about it a lot, you need some decent social media engagement or presentation for us to be like, hey, I can latch on, I can find everything easily, especially if your website fails. So there you go. That was just our limited breaking news. Do you have anything else on the AFL before we
No,
move
I think
on?
we've talked enough about that. So let's move on to something else.
All right, we're going to move on to the Indoor Football League, where it was week 16 of 19. So we're getting very close to their postseason here. So everybody jockeying for position.
Yep.
We had all our games on Saturday with the exception of one, which took place on Monday night. So we actually had a Canada Day game, which wasn't a very Canada game for this league. So Saturday saw the Frisco Fighters squeak by the San Antonio Gunslingers 48-47. The Duke City Gladiators got by the Tucson Sugar Skulls 44-32 to get their second victory of the season. The Jacksonville Sharks took out the Sioux Falls Storm 36-28. The Green Bay Blizzard came out of a win over the Tulsa Oilers 54-28. The Bay Area Panthers got a victory over the Vegas Nighthawks 37-35. The San Diego Strike Force defeated the Northern Arizona Wranglers 57-43. And there was a bit of a rough story that came out from the Northern Arizona Wranglers. I don't know if you saw this at all, but defensive coordinator David Moran suffered a severe heart attack just before Saturday's game.
Okay.
So our thoughts and prayers go out with him. I think even the IFL or some other entity has reposted, thoughts and prayers out to that guy.
Right. I saw a post where they said, condolences to the family, and they gave his name, but in their little post, it didn't say was he a coach, was he a player, was he a team owner. I didn't know who it was, so I wasn't gonna say anything till I knew more. But evidently, you got all the information from somewhere else. But yep.
Yep. All right. We might have some NFL news. But we'll see. We'll move on in a second. The Arizona Rattlers defeated the Iowa Barnstormers 55-26. And on Monday night, the Massachusetts Pirates defeated the Quad City Steamwheelers 52-35 in an instant Canada Day classic.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of that game
Yeah,
on
did
my
you?
phone too.
Interesting. I mean, it's great when you can just be like, hey, is there some football I can watch right now? And you can go to YouTube and
Yep. So I was watching something on TV, but I had my phone going and I was, checking out the score of the game too.
yeah. All right, so we're going to look at your IFL standings. In the East, the Green Bay Blizzard and Frisco Fire sit atop that eastern side of the league with 11-3 records. The Massachusetts Pirates sit at 8-6. The Quad City Steamwheelers at 6-7. The Tulsa Oilers at 5-9. The Iowa Barnstormers at 4-9. The Sioux Falls Storm and Jacksonville Sharks both at 3-10. In the West, you have the Bay Area Panthers at 11-2. The Vegas Nighthawks at 9-4. The San Diego Strike Force and Arizona Rattlers at 9-5, the Northern Arizona Wranglers at 8-5, the San Antonio Gunslingers at 6-7, the Tucson Sugar Skulls and Duke City Gladiators at 2-11. All right, now we're going to throw it over to Randy, who's going to talk about the Arena League.
Yeah, no relation to the Arena Football League. They had 2 games on Saturday, only 4 teams in this league, and this was week 5. The Iowa Woo defeated the Duluth Harbor Monsters 41-22, and this was Iowa's first win of the season.
I was wondering if they'd get that finally.
Yep, and also on Saturday it was the Ozarks Lunkers over the Kansas City Goats 69-59, and I guess this was the first loss for Kansas City.
I was wondering if somebody would finally top them, and they finally did.
Yep.
So.
All right, let's move on to some Women's Football Association, or Alliance. Women's Football Alliance scores. Their playoffs occurred last weekend. In Division 3, it was the New Mexico Bonitas over the Rocky Mountain Thundercats 22-12. The Oklahoma Rage over the Midwest Mountain Lions 26-8. The Maine Mayhem over the New York Knockouts 13-7. And the Cincinnati Cougars over the Virginia Panthers 49-8. And there were 4 games in Division 2. The Oklahoma Lady Force over the Derby City Dynamite 22-8. Nebraska Pride shut out the Austin Outlaws 70-0.
Oh boy, in a playoff game, man, how'd you like to be one of the teams that make it to the playoffs just to get blown out like that? Oof.
Let's see, the Atlanta Rage over the Baltimore Nighthawks 27-12, and it was the Palm Beach Coyotes over our hometown Detroit Venom 36-20. And then in the top division in the WFA, their pro division, the St. Louis Slam defeated the Cali War 28-6. The Minnesota Vixen defeated the Mile High Blaze 35-6. The Pittsburgh Passion defeated the Tampa Bay Inferno 41-13, and the Boston Renegades defeated the DC Divas 27-20. That sets up the quarterfinal round on July 13th. So that's not this weekend; it's the weekend after
they get a
this.
break, and then they all right.
Yep. So in Division 3, it's going to be the New Mexico Bonitas versus the Oklahoma Rage, and the Maine Mayhem against the Cincinnati Cougars. In Division 2, it's going to be the Oklahoma City Lady Force versus the Nebraska Pride, and the Atlanta Rage versus the Palm Beach Coyotes. Then in the Pro Division at the top, the St. Louis Slam are going to be taking on the Minnesota Vixens, and the big game in that whole league is going to be the Pittsburgh Passion versus the Boston Renegades.
Oh my gosh! So, okay, look,
it's too bad this can't be the
championship
game. I was going to say
this is the championship game.
Yeah,
whatever team wins that game is taking the whole
Pretty
thing.
much, I would
assume.
Yep.
I mean, no offense to the Slam or the Vixens if they get through, but yeah, the Passion. I think the Passion beat the Renegades earlier this year. We talked about that a few weeks ago. So this could be a tough one. I mean, they could finally knock off the Renegades from their 5-year streak that they've been riding.
That would be huge.
That would be big. So hey, good luck to them. I mean, we've gotten to meet the owners of the Pittsburgh Passion.
Mm-hmm.
They were really nice, and I don't have a team in the women's football game, even though you mentioned the Detroit Venom.
Right.
We have a team in Grand Rapids, but I haven't really seen them. But I kind of like the Passion. I got to meet their owners, so I was kind of pulling for them. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. All right, we're going to move on to the European League of Football. This is week 6 for them. And the very first game, I got a message from somebody that said I was pronouncing the name of this team wrong.
Yep.
The Raiders, I've been saying Raiders Trial, but it's Tyrol. Tirol. I had it spelled Triol. So Raiders Tirol from Austria shut out the Barcelona Dragons 32 to nothing this past week.
Yeah, the Dragons couldn't really do much in this game. The Raiders were all over it. I got to check out most of the highlights this week. I took a few notes. Some of them, I mean, the games were so one-sided, I was like, geez. But the player you need to know from this game is Raiders running back, but I forget how they pronounce his name, but Benotti. He seemed like he got the ball so much. He's had quite a couple of touchdowns, a couple of great highlights. So if you get a chance to check those out, he's going to be a name to keep an eye out for.
Okay. In another game, the Vienna Vikings over the Wrocław Panthers of Poland 37 to 25.
Yeah, the Vikings are a heck of a team. They also have a wide receiver on their team, number 18. So it's like, oh, is that Justin Jefferson running out there for the Minnesota Vikings? It's like, no, it's not. It's a wide receiver by the different name, and I believe his name, if I pull up his, nope, that's definitely not him. I'm like got the ELF website opened up to try to give credit where credit is due. His name is Noah Torre, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Wide receiver. He's only 22, but this kid, it seems every time I watch a game, you see number 18 making some fabulous catches there for Vienna, and they've got a heck of a team there, and they're definitely a team to watch out for going forward.
Okay, and then also on Saturday it was the Ryan Fire over the Madrid Bravos 40 to 15.
Yep, handing the Bravos their first loss of the season. This game was pretty much all fire though. It was in Madrid, but you could hear the Fire chants in those highlights. So the Fire fans travel. I'm not sure how far Ryan is from Madrid, but those Ryan Fire fans are dedicated, that's for sure. Any of the scoring for the Bravos though didn't come till like the fourth quarter. So take that for what you will. And the name you're going to want to know or remember from this league this year, if you take away any, is the league's leading rusher. He plays for the Ryan Fire, wears number 17. His name is Glenn Tunga. You're going to hear me say his name a lot watching these European games. He's a dude. Like every time he touches the ball, it's electric. He makes something out of nothing. Dare I say, could he be the Barry Sanders of the European League of Football? He doesn't quite have that elusiveness, but it just seems like every time he's got the ball, he's like he's shot out of a cannon. He's getting the yards. I believe in this last game he had 3 touchdowns. Like, yeah, maybe they had some short yardage ones where they just handed it to him and they got in, but still have 3 rushing touchdowns in a game. This dude is just their go-to guy. So Glenn Tunga.
And you said he plays for the Ryan Fire.
Yep, and he leads the league in rushing with 858 rushing yards after 6 weeks.
Wow. Yeah,
Think about that, please.
Okay. And the last game on Saturday, the Milano Seamen over the Fehérvár Enthroners from Hungary at 19 to 14.
I'm not going to lie. I was dedicated to, I was going to just write nothing but semen jokes to talk about this game.
Of course
and they're
you
blank.
were.
I didn't write anything down. You're welcome.
Good.
But congratulations to the Seamen for showing up and getting that win. I know I made fun of them, but it looks like, hey, they're on a little bit of a streak now.
Yeah, they lost their first 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, and then they pulled a few together. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Seamen, make sure they don't, get away from us or, drizzle down the standings. What? What's that for?
You are awful. All right, 4 games on Sunday. The Stuttgart Surge over the Helvetic Mercenaries from Switzerland, 50 to 7.
If you want to watch a beatdown, watch these highlights. The Surge, offense and defense, were humming. That defense, they had some athletic dudes. I couldn't tell if it was a bad pass or a couple passes. Like, oh, the Mercenaries, that's a decent pass, but it just seemed like the Surge defenders just found an angle and would like outstretch and just snag it out of the air. And then there was a couple of bad fumbles, I believe. But that Stuttgart offense was electric too. This is probably the best team in the ELF.
Okay. And then you told me to make sure I checked out these highlights, so I did.
Yeah,
thank you for that.
Yeah.
The Paris Musketeers over the Cologne Centurions, 60 to 25.
Yep. I thought these were the highlights of the week for everything I've watched.
They were pretty good.
While the final score was what again?
60 to 25.
That was their final score, but these were still electric highlights. The first half was close.
Yeah.
I think it was 20-20 going into halftime, or something around there, and then it was just all Musketeers in the second half. That Paris D just dominated in the second half. A lot of big explosive plays on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, a lot of long runs, long passes for touchdowns, long runs for touchdowns. Yeah, just a lot of exciting highlights in this game.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. The Berlin Thunder over the Prague Lions, 34-7.
Oh yeah, the Thunder bounced back. The Thunder have had a couple of tough games, but this one was kind of the team that we kind of saw earlier in the season.
Okay, and finally, the Frankfurt Galaxy over the Hamburg Sea Devils, 24-18.
Yep, go Galaxy. That's my team. That's who I root for. Good to get a win.
And the Munich Ravens were on bye this week. So, looking at the standings, we have actually two undefeated teams left in the league,
Yep.
several winless teams. But in the East, it's the Vienna Vikings at 6-0, Berlin Thunder at 3-3, Breslau Panthers at 2-4, Fehérvár Enforcers 0-5, and the Prague Lions at 0-6. In the Central Division, the Stuttgart Surge at 5-0, the Raiders Tirol at 5-1, Milano Seamen at 3-3, the Munich Ravens at 2-3, Barcelona Dragons at 2-4, and the Helvetic Mercenaries at 0-5. And in the West, it's the Rhine Fire at 5-1, the Paris Musketeers at 3-1, along with the Madrid Bravos at 3-1, Frankfurt Galaxy at 2-2, Hamburg Sea Devils at 2-2, and the Cologne Centurions at 1-3.
Yeah, the one thing I like, they're a good follow on X if you get a chance, or X and Instagram if you want to follow the ELF. They have their current playoff picture after 6 weeks. So your top two teams right now would be the number one seed would be the Vienna Vikings, and your number two seed would be the Stuttgart Surge. Your number three seed would be the Ryan Fire hosting the Madrid Bravos, a game we just saw this past weekend. And then your number four seed would be the Tirol
Tirol,
Tirol Raiders, and the oh boy, what is that team there? That is the Paris Musketeers, I believe, would be your number five seed right now. So,
okay.
So I forget, what is that? A 10-week season?
I was just going to ask you. I can't remember how many games are in there.
I want to say it's a 10-week season. I think they also just posted a graphic about how much time they have left before the end of the regular season. Anyway, we're about the halfway point, so probably 10 weeks.
Okay, sounds good. All right, let's move on to some NFL news. The big story that came out this past week was that the NFL was found guilty in a California district court in an antitrust lawsuit over NFL Sunday Ticket. The league must pay, get this, $4.7 billion in damages to Sunday Ticket customers. Most of that money is going to be set to go to residential class customers, and another $97 million is going to go to commercial class customers, meaning bars, hotels, restaurants that paid for the service so that they'd bring people in to watch the games. Additionally, under antitrust law, that $4.7 billion gets automatically tripled, equating to $14.088 billion in damages that the NFL must pay. Now, there's going to be appeals, and they're going to drag this out for years. Even if they have to pay something, it's not going to be anytime soon. So it's not like the NFL is going to be hurting for money this year.
Right.
This
It's not an immediate impact.
No. But commercial buyers of the NFL Sunday Ticket package have paid between $7,000 and $78,000 annually for the service, depending on the size of the venue. I can't believe that somebody's paying $78,000 for NFL Sunday Ticket.
Unless it's like a big chain, like a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Well, maybe
as a chain,
maybe, yeah. Okay, there you go.
That would be my first thought seeing that.
Yeah, so. But like a hotel or a bar might have
hotel
to pay $6,000
there
a year.
You go. Yeah,
for that.
Something like that. Yeah, if you're a smaller bar that maybe you own 2 or 3 franchises in a state, maybe you're paying $6,000.
And that's what's hurting them is paying for the service, and we'll get to more of that in a moment here. So what does all this mean for the NFL's 32 teams?
What does it mean, Randy?
According to Pro Football Talk, it means that each team is going to have to pay over $440 million themselves in damages, thanks to this lawsuit, which is nearly $200 million more than this year's salary cap of $255 million.
Oh, well, it's a good thing these teams rake in billions of dollars every year.
That's true. The jury determined the league violated antitrust laws by exclusively selling Sunday Ticket through DirecTV at an inflated price. This limited the subscriber base and addressing CBS and Fox's concerns about maintaining local ratings while allowing the NFL to earn substantial revenue from its broadcast rights. I always thought that was weird that you could only get it on DirecTV. Well, why wouldn't you open that up to the other satellite service, which I have?
Dish Network.
Dish Network, yeah.
Oh, you make it exclusive. It's it's whatever deal they made, and clearly
But
there's been some.
I've never had since we've lived in this house over 25 years. We've always had DirecTV.
Nope, we've always had Dish Network.
We've always had Dish Network, and my brother has DirecTV, and I've seen it. And I don't quite like it as well. I like, our service better. But yeah, I was never going to pay for it anyway. But I just thought if I did go somewhere else, I would get the same Dish Network satellite dish. If I moved to Florida, Arizona, whatever, and then I would want, the Sunday ticket to get my Lions games. But even at that, they didn't have a package just for the
One
Lions
team,
or one
right.
team, or even a division.
Well, that's a
Because
whole other
they
wrinkle
had
to this whole
talked about
thing.
that, but that never really happened.
Because I don't know. Okay, yep. You mentioned ESPN here. I mean, first off, you've done quite the research here as a Pro Football Research Association member. I'm very impressed with the amount of research you did.
There's a lot out there.
There's a lot
I
out
couldn't
there,
look until I started
And
digging into it.
I watched a video on this by a YouTuber that I like watching who did this exact same breakdown, and you're doing a great job. But what was I going to say? The ESPN angle, they did mention that ESPN at one point wanted to sell the package for like $78. Like they wanted to take what DirecTV did and say, hey, NFL, we'll do it, but we'll just do it for $78. It'll be a little more consumer friendly, and we'll, do it so that people can just buy a one-team package. And the NFL put up a middle finger and said, like hell you would. And that's what when
You're not going to mess with our cash cow,
no,
obviously.
And clearly there's price fixing involved. I don't know if you tackle on that. We're only halfway through your notes here.
Yeah.
But there was price fixing involved that they found. There's just so much to this story that's just like the NFL just being greedy.
Right.
It was DirecTV being greedy.
Yep.
So I'll let you continue, but there's so much to this story.
Yeah. Let's see. I talked about the jury. Okay. The NFL Sunday Ticket package is now available on YouTube TV, which everybody has YouTube.
Well, they have YouTube. I have YouTube TV just as a instead of like you have Dish Network. I use
Right.
YouTube TV to stream all my if I wanted to watch local stuff.
Right.
So,
but me as a consumer, I could just go to YouTube and sign up for the Sunday Ticket without even
and just do it through YouTube.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that makes it a lot easier for people to get that. So DirecTV lost its 28-year hold on Sunday Ticket when Google secured a 7-year deal with the NFL to sell the package via YouTube. According to ESPN, the lawsuit was originally filed in 2015 by the Mucky Duck Sports Bar in San Francisco, but it was dismissed in 2017. 2 years later, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over California and 8 other states, reinstated the case, and now they've got a verdict, and they found the NFL guilty on this. Current prices, this kills me. Current prices for NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube costs around $349 for the season. If you want the Red Zone package to go with that, now you're talking $389 for the season. And for YouTube Prime channels, I'm not sure what YouTube Prime is.
Like Prime Time or YouTube Prime is usually like their ad-free version.
I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, for that, the Sunday Ticket is around $449 a season, and add the Red Zone onto that, you're talking $489. I don't know how your average consumer at home feels about putting out that kind of money just to watch NFL games.
I mean, everybody's got disposable income.
Yeah.
It depends on your priority. You got kids out there, buying swords or buying, lightsabers. They're buying, Harry Potter robes.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, then you got nerds like us buying football jerseys and mini helmets. Let's not even get
T-shirts
started.
of all the CFL teams.
See, yeah, let's not even get us started on stupid transactions like
That's
that.
not stupid.
Well, then for those
That's
people
serious business.
But I mean, if you also think about it, what the NFL has done also is you still have to have multiple platforms. If you wanted to watch every single NFL game, you still need to have maybe a YouTube TV to watch just your local team. Then you would need Netflix to watch those Christmas games. You're going to need Amazon Prime to watch your Thursday night games. You're going to need Peacock to watch that exclusive playoff game again. And there's probably one more I'm forgetting about. Like, it's
Peacock is the one where they're going to be in Brazil. The second game of the season.
Don't even start ESPN Plus. You need to watch some of the other games.
A Peacock exclusive.
So there's just, I don't know, the NFL's done a lot. There's also rumors, or I saw that speculation that the NFL would probably take this up to the, what is it, the highest court.
Supreme Court?
They could take this to the Supreme
Oh, I'm
Court.
sure they will.
Good Lord. And somebody, I think it was the video I watched, That's Good Sports. I'm telling you, go subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's great. But he mentioned that one of the judges in the Supreme Court was gifted a Super Bowl ring by Jerry Jones. So,
Oh, no.
yeah, so there you go there. As if it wasn't bad enough, there's that.
Well, it won't be a unanimous decision against the NFL.
Yeah,
then.
we'll see. What a muddy story this was.
Yeah,
though.
there was so much to this. I mean, I saw the headline a week ago, but it really wasn't until this
when you
morning
dive into
that
it,
I really dove into it, and I found a really good article that explained all of this stuff. And I'm just pulling out little notes here and there from it. But yeah, what a mess! It makes the NFL look bad, which they are. They're greedy. They're money hungry, and that's all they care about is the bottom line, not the fans. I don't care. Tell them I said that.
And you
they
know
don't
what this
care
is
about
going to do in
fans.
the long run? Absolutely nothing.
Probably
They might
not.
just have to change some of their practices in terms of getting their product out like that, like with a Sunday ticket or whatever. They might have to adjust some prices,
Yep.
or maybe they won't have to. The idiot, we're still going to keep paying for it. You know what the people are going to do if they refund people? Like, hey, here's your $2,000 the NFL owes you, Joe Schmo. What are you going to do with it? You're
Turn
probably
right
going to turn
around.
right back around and buy Sunday
it
ticket
again.
with it.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Hey, well, this covers my Sunday ticket for the next couple of years now,
Yep.
doesn't it? So the NFL's just going to get that money back. That's the thing.
For as greedy as the NFL is, the people are just as gullible to pay whatever the NFL wants for their product.
Unfortunately, I mean, when you got the best product in the market, the best live sports in America, at the least, like,
You can watch CFL games for free, and these guys are
now.
playing hard.
Until
and
everybody catches on to what
Yeah.
we've been watching, you
Yeah.
know.
The CFL is great, and it doesn't cost you a dime really.
Hey,
to watch
CFL,
it.
you heard us. We're preaching the gospel with you guys, so you guys better cut us a nice check, or give us some free access when CFL Plus needs to start paying, getting paid subscribers.
Well, I do need a T-shirt from every CFL team, so
That's all you need.
that's all I need. I'm a simple guy.
Gee, how did they buy the World of Football channel and get them in their back pocket? All they had to do was get Randy a T-shirt from every team, and he shut the heck up.
They'll do anything for a T-shirt and a hat.
Shut up! People are gonna think that's true. We won't.
It is.
He will, but
All right, let's move on to some college news. This actually came out the week before, but I just really dove into this story too. Northwestern University breaks ground on a new stadium. The new Ryan Field is part of a $480 million donation from the family of Patrick and Shirley Ryan. Boy, it must be nice to have that much money that you can just donate to your alma mater. They're both graduates of the school.
how many NFL Sunday ticket packages do you think they've been buying for their schools?
I don't know, but this is the largest donation in school history. Of course, they threw in some other endowments for other different programs, the math program, the chemistry program. So it wasn't just for the football field, but it was a huge donation to the school. Good for them. The school has said that the stadium would seat 35,000 people, which is down more than 12,000 from the old Ryan Field, which opened in 1926. It will feature a canopy designed to keep noise and light focused on the field and include cutting-edge technology and scoreboards, as well as concessions with food from local restaurants. So that's kind of cool. That'd be a pretty cool place to go see a game. Northwestern is scheduled to play most of its home games next season at its lakefront soccer and lacrosse field while the stadium is being built. The new Ryan Field is scheduled to be open in 2026. Now, they said next season. I don't know if that means this season, so they could be playing at their current stadium this year and then move to the soccer and lacrosse field next year. So I'm not sure. That wasn't really made clear in the article. So I don't know if they're going to be there for the next 2 years while the stadium is being built or just next year.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, if somebody knows, if somebody's a Northwestern alum or a big fan, let me know. Are they playing in their current Ryan Field? And is it the same family that gave money for the school back in 1926 that they called it Ryan Field? Now the same descendants are giving more money to the school? I don't know.
Well, let me just try to do a quick search here on. Well, that didn't help. On where some of these games are going to be played. Because you said it was going to be played at the Lakeside.
Right. They didn't give the name of it, but it's just where the school plays soccer
I wanted. I
and
think if
lacrosse.
I'm just catching a little glimpse here on the Google. It looks like their games are going to be played at the Lanny and Sharon Martin Lakeside facility.
Okay.
So I believe, yeah. So this season, next season, they'll probably
Okay.
play there, and then
Okay.
the big stadium.
Yeah. I
So
didn't know if next season, this season being the next season that's coming up, or season like this year.
how do you go from doing such great research with your NFL story to this? You're like, I don't know, I couldn't find anything. It's like you literally just dug up things about finance and the NFL and money, and I'm just like, but you couldn't find out if they're playing at a
Some
stadium.
articles have all that information in there, and others don't. Some are really in depth more than others, and so the one for the NFL was very in depth. This one not quite as in depth. All right, another story that happened has to do with the International Federation of American Football, the IFAF. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't very familiar with this. I know you posted a picture a week or so ago where it said, "Do you want to know what an NFL field looks like in a CFL stadium?" Well, that's what this was. That's where this tournament was taking
Ah,
place at Commonwealth Stadium. And I didn't put all these things together until the last day or so. But this is the story. Canada wins the U20 American Football Junior World Championship gold medal for the third consecutive time. I think they played about every other year, but I think they had a couple of years where
because of COVID,
COVID,
probably.
yeah, they didn't do that. So the last three would be this year, 2014, and then 2018 and 2016. So Canada has won three times in a row. They beat Japan this year, 20-6, and
20 to
Japan,
9.
I'm sorry, 20-9. Yeah, I was looking at that upside down. And Japan took the silver medal. The game was played at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, home of the CFL's Edmonton Elks. Austria won the bronze medal, and the United States had a team there, but they lost to Austria in the bronze medal round by the score of 32-25. Teams from Panama, Brazil, and Australia also participated in the tournament. Earlier in the tournament, Canada actually shut out Brazil by the score of 110-0.
Oof.
I remember seeing that, but I didn't know what the whole thing was.
Yeah.
Now I have a little bit better feel for it. I actually started following the IFAF on Twitter, so I'll get all these updates now. And I think they had a women's tackle football tournament coming up in a couple of weeks
Oh.
in Edmonton. So Edmonton is holding the whole thing. I think they had like they treated it like the Olympics. They had a torch,
Oh.
running a torch, lighting a thing for all this, and all these teams and players, and so U20. I'm assuming that's under 20
Yeah.
players and whatnot. But yeah, very interesting, and congratulations to the Canadian team for winning the gold in the Junior World Championships of American football
Yep.
for three straight tries.
Yep. And on
Three
Canada
straight
Day
times.
weekend,
Yep,
nonetheless.
yep, absolutely. What a way to end it for them. Congratulations. All right, let's move on to birthdays. Got a couple of birthdays today for July 2nd. Coach Bob Zupke, born on this date in 1879. He passed away in 1957 at the age of 78. He was the University of Illinois coach from 1913 to 1941, and he won 7 Big Ten championships during that time. He is an inaugural member of the College Football Hall of Fame in 1951, and he was inducted into the Illinois Athletics Hall of Fame in 2017. And I wondered why did they wait so long to put him in their own school's Hall of Fame? But I looked at the class of 2017, and in that same class was George Hallis, who played there, Dick Butkus, who played there, Red Grange. They all went in the class of 17. So I think they were making up for lost time
Mm.
because they had all these great players that came out of the University of Illinois, and they put them all in one class in 2017. So it wasn't just Bob Zupke; it was all of these players. But ironically, I've been to Bob Zupke's grave,
Oh.
which is right next to the stadium. There's the stadium, there's a graveyard right next to it, and from what I was told by the guy that took me to the grave, he said that this grave lines up with the 50-yard line of the stadium. I was not able to confirm that, but that's what he said. So Bob Zupke's birthday today. And the other one is quarterback Chad Henne, who turns 39 years old today, played his college football at Michigan, was selected in the second round of the 2008 NFL draft by the Miami Dolphins. He played 13 NFL seasons. He was with the Dolphins from 2008 to 2011. the Jacksonville Jaguars from 2012 to 2017, the Kansas City Chiefs from 2018 to 2022. And he just so happened to win a Super Bowl championship with the Chiefs in 2022.
Yeah, he was even playing in the playoff game where Mahomes hurt his ankle and Henny had to come in. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
Henny's had to come in
Led
a
him
couple
to a
times.
touchdown
Yep.
on a drive when he was
Yep,
in there. Yep.
yep.
Okay, I do remember that.
Yep. So, but not in the Super Bowl. He didn't play in it, but
Right. Still gets a ring.
But still, he got that ring, and for a minute there, we were like, "Oh crap, Mahomes is out. Is that going to mean the Chiefs aren't going to win this playoff game?" And Henny was able to keep him afloat.
Yep.
So, till Mahomes came back that next, because wasn't that the AFC Championship game?
I don't recall what.
I can't remember if it was that or the divisional round. I want to say it was against the Browns, so it probably wasn't the championship game, obviously. So
okay. And I was telling you earlier that up until a little while ago, I had not seen any obituaries this week, so which is kind of unusual. But there was one that I found just a little while ago. Swagger Jr., also known as SJ, the beloved bull mastiff mascot for the Cleveland Browns, has passed away at the age of 5. The team announced just today. SJ was born at the end of 2018 and took over his father Swagger's mascot duties just before he died unexpectedly of cancer at the same age back in 2020. The Browns introduced Swagger Sr. as the team's first live mascot back in 2014. So,
well, that's a bummer to hear.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in the article that I read about any who's going to take over this year. I don't know if there's a third generation.
Could there be some behind the scenes Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon style intrigue happening on the succession plan for the next Mastiff to take over? I'd watch that show.
You mean the House of Swagger?
Oh my God, the House of Swagger on HBO Max. Do it. Do it.
Cue the music.
Dun 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 dun.
All right, and finally today, our upcoming events calendar. Today, July 2nd, Hard Knocks, off-season with the New York Giants debuts on HBO and Max.
Are you watching tonight?
I don't know. I'm
going to give it a shot. I don't know if I'll watch it tonight, but I'll definitely. With it being the 4th of July weekend, you're going to find some downtime to at least check it out.
I'll probably watch it later on this week.
If you beat me to it, you text me. If I beat you to it, I'll text you.
So maybe we'll talk about it next week. We'll review that.
You don't want to do a after show?
No. Nope. We've got enough stuff going on right now. But yeah, there's 5 episodes, and the first one is dropping today. So go check that out, I guess. July 6th, the AAL2 Championship Bowl 2, the Peach State Cats versus the Wheeling Miners in Wheeling, West Virginia. Wednesday, July 10th, Receivers, the docuseries premieres on Netflix. That I do want to watch.
Very excited for that.
Yeah, because that's got Amon-Ra St. Brown in it, so I look forward to that. That's an 8-episode docuseries. Friday, July 19th, EA Sports College Football video game is released. You'll be waiting in line outside of a Best Buy to...
Or if you go
they don't do that anymore.
If you go to that Arena Bowl, you could be in line to get the video game and then walk right into the Arena Bowl championship game that day.
I don't know if there's a Best Buy anywhere near that.
Well, maybe not there, but you go to a GameStop in the mall. I mean,
yeah, but that same day, Friday the 19th, Arena Bowl 33 at the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey, right next to Giant Stadium. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there.
Yeah, let me know if you do. I'm sure some of our other football pundits that we've grown to be friends with, you might run into again there. So
I've already talked to.
At least then you can get a get together with them.
I've talked to one other person that said he's most likely going to be there. I think you know who I'm talking about. But going to drive down from Montreal.
Oh, of course he is. You'd have a good old time. I'm bummed I couldn't make it.
And this will be my. I mean, I know a lot of the people that cover the AFL have
done many arena bowls.
Brag about how many arena bowls they've been to.
Will this be your third?
This will be my third. Yeah. Grand Rapids was the first. Went to one in Cleveland several years ago, and now this one here. So I'm actually looking forward to this. I'm
jealous.
It's going to be a very unique experience being in the mall. I'm curious to see how they're going to set it up, how it's all going to be executed. But I think it's going to be a fascinating time, so I can't pass this up. I
don't blame you. If I didn't already have plans, I would have been there with you, but I already have plans. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I even offered to take your mom with me.
Oof, she turned you down?
She did, and I thought, how can she
say no down
going to a big shopping mall? Yeah, because she said, well, I wouldn't have to watch the game, would I? I just have to hang out at the mall while you're doing that. I mean, yeah, her alone for 3 hours with a credit card at the mall. Oh boy.
How many of these arena football pundits' wives are just going to be hanging out at the mall? All their husbands will shuffle off to the game.
All of a sudden, they all want to go to the game with their husbands. Yeah. All right, let's see. July 26th and 27th, the WFA 3 championship games are going to be played at Tom Benson Stadium in Ohio, right next to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. August 1st, the Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton between the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. Do you realize that is less than a month away? August 1st, this is July 2nd,
Yep.
less than a month. We've got NFL football in Canton.
You know what else we get on August 1st? It's not on this rundown.
What?
A brand new Batman animated series is coming out on Amazon Prime. So,
And now you know why it's not on our rundown.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Other Batman fans and football fans, if we have that same diagram, we can be friends.
I guess that's why you were wearing a Batman T-shirt when we were in Toronto, getting our picture taken at the historical marker for the site of the first Grey Cup game in 1909.
What's funny about that is I didn't even think about it, but I wore that Michael Keaton Batman shirt on the anniversary, the 35th anniversary of the 1989 Batman being released in cinemas. I was but a wee child. I was just born a few months prior to that. So,
what synergy?
I mean, it's just the universe works in mysterious Batman ways.
Yes, it does. All right, August 3rd, Saturday, it is a Saturday, the 2024 enshrinement ceremonies at the Hall of Fame. Tuesday, August 6th, Hard Knocks training camp with the Chicago Bears is going to premiere on HBO and Max. That's another 5-episode miniseries. August 24th, week 0 in college football. Thursday, September 5th, the NFL regular season begins with a game with is going to see the Ravens travel to the Chiefs for the first Thursday night game. And the very next night, September 6th, Friday night, the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Green Bay Packers in Sao Paulo, Brazil, exclusively on Amazon Prime. And that's it for our upcoming events calendar for now. Any other breaking news before we call this a show?
Well, the one breaking news I forgot to bring up, and I was like, well, maybe it's not that big a deal, but it involved the NFL releasing the locations and dates for all the teams, camp and reporting dates. So all 32 teams, it's up and at 'em. Our Lions right now, rookies are going to report July 20th. Veterans are to report on July 23rd. So
Yeah,
if they got it up, go look up your team's information. So
yeah, I'm going to try and get tickets to a training camp day as soon as they come out. The 16th is when you can go to the Lions website and register for tickets.
Kyle and I were talking about that. I mean, if you can get us tickets, I'll try to go. But man, I had a hard time last year getting
we'll
tickets.
have to talk about what day we might possibly want to go. We'll have to look at that and say, shoot for this day. But if not this day, that day.
At any, we'll have to do that ahead of time. But otherwise, I'd say just get any.
Right, yeah, because we missed out last year. Last year was the first year that you had to have a ticket.
Yeah.
It's free, but you got to go online and register. Otherwise, they don't let you in. So I didn't do that. I procrastinated, and like I always do. So we didn't go last year. And it was kind of a bummer because we've been going for the last several years. I mean, every year we go for one day and just sit there and buy a few souvenirs and watch the team and have a good time. Bake in the sun. I mean, it's always the hottest day of the summer, and there's no shade. Sitting on those metal bleachers watching the Lions. So, all right. Anything else?
That should do it.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done a job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can follow The World of Football on Facebook, X, and Instagram, where the address for all three of those is TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music, so you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us on whatever Alexa devices you may have. You can also find the full audio version of this show on our YouTube page. Just enter The World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle at The World of Football in the YouTube search bar. So please spread the word, subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation.
You gonna check that? How many?
We're still at 989.
Okay, we haven't hit 990 yet. All right,
not yet.
All right. Well, remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us guys sitting here in Kalamazoo. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. I'm Randy Snow.
And have a good 4th of July weekend this weekend, everybody. Be safe. Don't blow your fingers off.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll have news next week if Randy's actually going to that Arena Bowl or not.
Yeah. We'll see you all next week.